Okay, so another point that was brought up in this video by Republic of Sandals is to do with relationships and why we say that relationships are inherently manipulative. Now, this is not to say that relationships are bad or evil, or that we should just not participate in relationships because they're taboo and we should just not have anything to do with relationships and just out of a belief of them being bad. No, it's to look at what relationships actually are, to understand how we form these relationships and be self-honest with the relationships that we participate in, so that we're not manipulating ourselves, so that we're not deliberately deceiving ourselves. Because oftentimes what we find when we are pushing ourselves to be self-honest, when we investigate the relationships in our lives, we'll find that they have been based on manipulation. Not necessarily directly, consciously to manipulate others, but often to manipulate ourselves. So what do I mean by that? Firstly, we have to look at what a relationship is. In a relationship, what we're dealing with is thoughts, opinions, and ideas that are layered upon people or our environment, where instead of let's say if I'm in a room and there's other beings in that room with me, instead of it being just what it is, instead of it being the self-honest expression of, okay, I'm here, I am in this room, and there are other beings here with me, what happens is we create relationships. We create ideas and opinions and beliefs based on the ideas and opinions and beliefs that we define ourselves by. So I will look around this room and judge the room, and I might have thoughts and opinions and ideas like, okay, I don't like this room. This is too small for my preference. I don't like the color. I have defined this color as being girly, or I've defined this color as being goth, and I don't like that. This is not my style. This does not support the idea that I have about myself, so I don't like being in this room. That is a relationship, and that is manipulation. Why? Because it's me not allowing myself to simply be here with what is actually here unconditionally. It is me not allowing myself to enjoy what is actually here as expression. It is me being in my own mind, judging what is here because my own self-judgments and self-definitions. And when I apply this to the other people in the room, it's the same thing. I create relationships based on my own ideas and opinions about myself, where I go into, okay, this person seems to like the same stuff that I like, so I'm going to enjoy talking to this person because this person's personality and this person's ego and presentation and expression of themselves supports my idea of myself. So I enjoy that. I'm going to participate with this person. Oh, this other person doesn't like my jokes. He doesn't laugh at the same things I laugh at, and I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he dresses. So I'm not going to like this person. I don't want to participate with this person. This person's a loser. That is relationship, and that is manipulation. Why? Because in that instance, it's the same thing. It's me judging others, judging my environment based on my own ideas and definitions about myself, which I am not self-honest with, because I am not slowing myself down and asking, okay, why do I not like this room? Why have I judged this room as girly or goth? What does that mean to me? What are these definitions? Where did these definitions come from? At what point in my life did I decide that I don't like this? At what point in my life did I decide to separate myself from that expression? At what point in my life did I decide to create this relationship within myself to this kind of color, this kind of room? We don't investigate these points because we believe that our relationships are simply who we are, without understanding that all of these are created out of what we accept as our thoughts, what we accept as our beliefs about ourselves, and that we don't have to accept these things, that we can actually determine for ourselves the quality of who we are and what we participate in, and thus the quality of our relationships in this world, so that they're not based on self-definitions that are limiting, self-definitions that are not actually supportive of who we are, or supportive of what is best for all. So relationships in this world currently are based on manipulation, based on deception. And it's not to say, again, it's not to say that they are bad or evil or wrong. It is to look at the manifested consequences of allowing our relationships to continue the way that they are. In this world, self-honesty does not exist. We have not applied ourselves as a whole to investigate the point of self-honesty versus existing within our minds, existing within our ideas about ourselves, existing within the thoughts and opinions and beliefs that we have been indoctrinated with since birth. We have not given ourselves that opportunity to investigate these points specifically. So, yes, at the moment, in this world, the great majority of relationships are not based on common sense, are not based on actually supporting ourselves and each other to exist here unconditionally in support of one another. Rather, our relationships have been based on finding the things that justify who we think we are and support who we think we are in self-interest, so that we are able to be a certain person around other people, or we're able to be a certain way in certain places. But all of that changes. You might investigate this for yourself and see that if you're around certain people, your expression changes. If you're in certain places, your expression changes. Why? It's because of the relationships that have been built, the relationships that have been layered upon these locations, upon these people that we play into as different personas, different characters. And if we are changing, if our actual self-expression is changing because of that, then what do we know? We know that we've abdicated ourselves. We've created ourselves to live in these different relationships instead of remaining here as ourselves constantly, instead of remaining self-honest, no matter where we are, no matter who we're with. So if we are changing because of the relationships that we allow within ourselves, because of the relationships that we create, then we're manipulating ourselves. We're manipulating ourselves to not face ourselves and stand unconditionally as who we are no matter what. Thus, relationships are deception. Relationships are manipulation of self. So why do we say that family and friends are perhaps the most common, the most influential points of manipulation in this world? It's because family is the first relationship that we're introduced to. And the next relationship is our friends. And in this world, we see that self-honesty has not existed. Thus, our relationships are based on dishonesty. Our relationships are based on that idea of creating relationships to justify who and what we are as our ideas, as our self-interest. And the family, as it currently exists in this world, does not support one another within that point of self-honesty. Rather, we are trained and indoctrinated with ideas from birth based on the culture that we're born into, the family that we're born into, the ideas and beliefs that we are fed and trained to live as without actually investigating. Thus, relationships in this world currently are self-deceptive, self-manipulative, because we don't question whether or not this relationship actually supports me to be who I am no matter what. We don't question whether or not this relationship supports me to be self-honest no matter what. We don't question whether or not this relationship is based on me having a good time, or me enjoying myself within my mind, within my self-definitions, at the expense of compromising who I actually am in self-honesty in each moment. We don't question whether or not this relationship supports me to be in this world as a being that is able to take on self-responsibility to not allow abuse within myself or within my world. Thus, relationships must be purified. Relationships must be looked at specifically, and to not judge relationships within morality of, oh, relationships are bad, don't do relationships. No, it is to establish relationships based on self-honesty. Create relationships that actually support us, relationships that allow us to expand ourselves, to expand each other within self-honesty, within taking self-responsibility for what we accept of ourselves, of each other, of this world, so that we can actually stand up and support each other for real, instead of supporting each other as the ideas of ourselves. The other point I wanted to talk about within this video by Republic of Sandals is that he is projecting the end of Destiny, how Destiny is not sustainable, and how why should anybody trust Destiny if people are inherently self-manipulative and deceptive. What this reveals is that what Destiny is not understood. Destiny is not a farm in South Africa. Destiny is not a online organization that you just sign into and be a part of like some party. Destiny is not something outside of ourselves. For me, destiny is the realization that we have existed in this world without having the ability to question ourselves, without having the ability to change ourselves for real. Destiny is the realization that we have allowed ourselves to participate in this world without awareness of how we're creating this world by the thoughts that we're allowing ourselves to have, the beliefs that we're allowing ourselves to participate in, and the relationships that we're allowing ourselves to build without considering what is best for all, without considering the full manifested consequences of what we're doing. Destiny is the realization that we are self-responsible, that we must investigate ourselves, what we're participating in, and how that affects our reality, how that affects each other. So, destiny is not going to end. Destiny will continue, because destiny is who we are as life, realizing itself for the first time and taking self-responsibility and standing up. And yes, we work together as a group because we see that as a group we are more effective. We can support each other. We can move together and create a better world together more effectively than if we try to do it by ourselves. So destiny will not end. The question is, who will you be in a world of people standing up and realizing themselves for the first time and daring to ask these questions? Where do you stand? Will you allow your ego and self-opinions and self-interests cloud you from being able to consider who you actually are, how you actually created your life, and whether or not your life is actually your life? Investigate the Destiny material, investigate the Destiny I process, and allow yourself to see yourself and take responsibility for the relationships that exist within you so that you can see this world in a way that is not considered before, so that you can actually see your life and how you're creating it and how that affects everything, and see how we are responsible, and see how we have the potential to create a world that is actually best for all, that is actually supportive for all, and see how we can bring heaven on earth together. Thank you.